Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian, Pace reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. Making his debut here at the Blue Note, as well as making his debut to the music world, is a young pianist by the name of Vinnie Celenza. And his brand new debut album, Back and Forth, is really an amalgamation of two things. One, where this young pianist is musically right now, and two, he's introducing the world to his very innovative compositions as well as jazz piano. As you might know, over the last 15 years, Luke has been mentored by jazz legend Michel Camilo, and he's also currently about to finish his last year at Juilliard this year, where he's studying jazz music. We sat down earlier and we talked about his origins growing up here in New York. We also sat down and talked about what Michel Camilo means to him and how he's affected him as far as his music, as well as touring, as well as also learning the music, and also what this young man is going to bring to the world of jazz and jazz piano. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Mr. Luke Celenza live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. Back and Forth, congratulations. You did a stunning set tonight. And tonight you really are musically telling the world who you are about. How do you feel?
Well, thank you. I feel really good. Band was sounding good, so I feel good.
Musically, this album is your debut, and tell me the thought process of you putting the music together and also assembling this band, because this band has been with you for quite a while.
In terms of the record, Jimmy and Josh I know since '07. We did a summer camp together, the Dave Brubeck Institute out in California. Learned about Dave Brubeck's music and his bands, and there were a couple ensembles, and I was put with Jimmy and Josh. So that's when I met them. And then Lucas, I met later when I got to school. He was in his second year of masters, so we only had 1 year together actually in school. But he was instantly I was taken by his playing, so I figured we should play together more. So that's what happened there.
I understand that your brother had a very instrumental part in helping you put this together. He decided to put the family music studio together, and he let you be who you wanted to be when you started playing.
Yes, well, he designed and designed a room for us to record in by tuning it with absorption panels and all kinds of things. Then we built the room, and then a few months later, he said, "Okay, your Christmas present is I'm gonna record, mix, and produce your album." So I said, "Okay, sounds great." So then we rented all the gear, brought it into the house. The room already sounded good, so we just did our best to get some isolation. Got some tunes together, the old ones, wrote some new ones, made an album. That's it. That's how it happened.
You know, classical music has been pretty much neck and neck with jazz music because it's the American art form in our terms. But your first formal training was in classical. In fact, your first teacher is here tonight. Explain what she expounded upon you to bring to the music.
Well, at first, when I was 4 or 5, it was just piano technique, scales, arpeggios, making sure I was playing correctly. And if I really stuck with it and ended up loving it, we would get into deeper things. Then, beginning classical repertoire, we played all kinds of Beethoven, Bach etudes, and fugues and things. And then after 10 or 11 years, I was already overlapping 1 or 2 years at the Manhattan School of Music. They have a Saturday program, and I did that since I was 11, all the way through high school. So I was doing the jazz and the classical with Mrs. Porter at the same time for a little while, and then I sort of was like, okay, it's high school, I'm going to just do the jazz, and I said goodbye to Mrs. Porter, but we're still very close, and I still have a lot of those songs under my fingers, actually, that we worked out. Nowadays, though, my teacher the first 2 years at school, Frank Kimbrough, was a wonderful pianist. He hipped me to this composer, Frédéric Montpou, who's a Spanish composer, even though it sounds French. And he's got a book. It doesn't really matter what page you open to. It's good for my sight reading because there's all kinds of crazy double sharps and double flats and things. It's great for harmonies. It's totally just the future in the past. So that's my gold. My goal. Gold mine. There it is.
Michel Camilo has been a very important person in your life as far as a mentor, and he's kind of like a second father to you. Going into the first time you saw Michel, what was the impact on you as a young person moving forward that you knew you wanted to play this music?
Oh, well, it was clear his ability to capture an audience was pretty unparalleled, I would say. You could hear a pin drop if he's playing a ballad, or he can bring the fire and really rally an entire hall. I've seen it. So even if I don't sound anything like him, I hope to at least take away the energy that he brings to the music.
How did you get exposed to jazz music aside from Michel Camilo?
Well, actually, you'd be surprised how interconnected the dental and jazz worlds are. My dad is a dentist and a jazz drummer on the side, and a lot of dentists are jazz musicians on the side, or jazz appreciators, supporters. So I guess it was just around. My dad loved jazz. His dad loved jazz. We were playing records. Family friends with Michel. It all sort of happened at the same time, so I just kind of loved it. So that's what happened.
What is it that you want music fans to take away from your introduction to the music world?
Oh, well, I want jazz fans and non-jazz fans to be able to like my music. So I don't want them to listen to it and think that it's a math equation, or that they can't feel the groove because it's too complicated or anything. So I'm just trying to blend the things I like about popular music, the simplicity of the forms, the ability to hook on to a groove, and not feel like, oh, that was a bar of 7. Oh, I don't know what's going on, and also the aspects of jazz that I like, the improvisation and the communication, and sort of blending those two things together and making something that everybody can like, or at least introduce people that don't know much about jazz. They could be like, oh, I can relate to these sort of things, and wow, they're creating on the spot and sort of having communication at the same time, and I like that because I can relate to it. So that's sort of their introduction to jazz. And then from the jazz point of view, they're seeing the improvisation and the communication already, and then they're seeing how it blends with popular music, or maybe they'll say, oh, this form is a little different. It's more like a pop tune than it is like a jazz standard or an American songbook song. So everything for everybody, something for everybody.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the talented Luke Celenza for his time, as well as the staff and management here at the Blue Note. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Until next time, peace.